From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aishah Ashraf. Our top story for today: Donald Trump takes the oath of office as the 47th President of the United States today, pledging immediate and bold action. Shortly before being sworn in, Trump said he will address what he calls disasters inherited from the Biden administration. He vows to restore American strength, dignity, and prosperity after years of perceived decline.
From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
Highlighting his administration's priorities, Trump has announced plans for aggressive border security measures to halt illegal immigration. He promises to expel criminal gangs like Venezuela's Tren de Aragua, vowing to restore control over U.S. sovereign borders.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
He has also hinted at a series of executive orders to tackle inflation and high interest rates. Regarding the Middle East, Trump has praised a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas, calling it an epic step towards peace. The deal has led to the release of Israeli hostages and a temporary suspension of bombing on Gaza. Trump has also reiterated his commitment to ending the war in Ukraine and preventing World War III. On domestic issues, Trump has extended his support to Californians battling devastating wildfires. The fires have killed 25 people and destroyed more than 12,000 structures. He promises to visit the region on Friday and grant federal aid and swift recovery efforts. Trump pledges to keep men out of women's sports by enforcing legislation that bans transgender athletes from participating in women's competitions.
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Former President Joe Biden officially handed over power to Donald Trump today, marking the start of a new administration. Before leaving the White House, Biden delivered a final message to Americans. He called for hope, unity, and perseverance. On his last full day in office, Biden visited South Carolina, which played a pivotal role in his political rise. Speaking at the International African American Museum and Royal Missionary Baptist Church, Biden reflected on his journey and the inspiration he drew from civil rights leaders. Biden spoke of his heroes, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy. He thanked South Carolina for its crucial support, saying, "I owe you big." He urged Americans to keep the faith in a better day to come. As he left the White House, Biden noted the progress made during his tenure, from foreign diplomacy to domestic unity efforts. He also highlighted the U.S. brokered pause in Israeli bombing in Gaza, expressing hope that the new administration would uphold the agreement. Migrant rights advocates vowed to continue their fight after a federal appeals court limited protections under the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. The court upheld a Texas ruling declaring the program unlawful. It has allowed current recipients to retain protections, leaving its fate uncertain. The Fifth Circuit panel's decision blocked new applications in Texas, but delayed its impact for further appeals. Advocates are calling on Congress to pass permanent protections, warning of the uncertainty facing undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children. Nina Perales, vice president of a leading Latino legal civil rights organization, has emphasized the program's temporary relief for dreamers to study, work, and contribute. Advocates criticize the decision as unjust and are urging bipartisan action. With President Donald Trump poised to launch deportations, pressure mounts to safeguard dreamers and protect immigrant communities from mass raids. TikTok has begun restoring its services to U.S. users after a brief outage yesterday. This comes as Trump has promised executive action to save TikTok after a federal ban threatened its operations. The platform thanked Trump for ensuring its service providers won't face penalties. TikTok serves more than 170 million Americans and supports 7 million small businesses. The company praises Trump for defending the First Amendment and opposing censorship. TikTok says it is committed to working with the incoming administration on a long-term solution to remain in the U.S. Melania Trump has launched her own cryptocurrency, Melania Coin. Previously, President-elect Donald Trump had introduced his own Trump coin. Melania announced launch on platform X, encouraging people to buy the coin. The coin is described as fungible crypto assets based on the Solana blockchain. He invited supporters to join his crypto community. Trump's Trump coin is being promoted as a celebration of his values, with supporters able to contribute to his campaign through crypto donations. Trump once called cryptocurrency a scam. Israel kills 2 in Gaza as 90 Palestinian prisoners freed in West Bank. Details come after the break. Stay tuned and we will be right back. Welcome back. Israel has released 90 Palestinian prisoners early Monday under a prisoner swap deal with Hamas. The release from Ofer military prison near Ramallah sparked celebrations in Beitunia, where Palestinians gather to welcome them. The Israeli military warned against celebrations threatening intervention. Tensions rose as Israeli forces used tear gas and sound bombs to disperse the crowd. Drones also fired tear gas near the prison. Around 1 a.m., military jeeps and bulldozers also raided the area. The released prisoners include 69 women, 8 minors, and 12 men. They were transported under Red Cross protection. The previous evening, Hamas released 3 Israeli women captives. At the same time, Israeli snipers killed 2 Palestinians in Gaza. One of them was a teenage boy. 8 Palestinians, including children, also have been reportedly injured so far today as a result of Israeli gunfire in Rafah. An Anadolu agency has documented severe destruction at Abu Yusuf al-Najjar Hospital in Gaza's Rafah after a temporary pause in Israeli bombing. The truce was delayed by hours and took effect at 11:15 a.m. local time on Sunday. Since October 7th, Israeli strikes on Gaza have killed nearly 47,000 people, mostly women and children. More than 110,700 have been injured, and at least 11,000 Palestinians remain missing. In November, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes in Gaza. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology has restricted access to its internal grant database. This comes after a student-led report revealed significant Israeli military funding for research projects. The Institute's Coalition for Palestine found the Israeli Ministry of Defense had contributed more than $3.7 million since 2015. The Israeli Defense Ministry was funding technologies such as drone swarms, underwater surveillance, and missile detection. The report highlights collaborations with major Israeli military contractors, including Elbit Systems and multinational corporations such as Maersk and Raytheon. These partnerships allegedly support technologies used in Gaza's military operations, sparking calls for divestment. Last May, the Institute's chancellor, Melissa Nobles, said only 3 contracts with the Israeli military are active, totaling $180,000. The Institute cut ties with Saudi Aramco in 2020 after the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. It has also conducted elevated risk assessments for projects funded by people or organizations in Saudi Arabia and China to address concerns about legitimizing or furthering violations of human and civil rights. But similar action is not taken with Israeli contractors. This has led campus protests with demands for the Institute to sever ties with the Israeli military. Arrests, suspensions, and restrictions on protesters have drawn criticism. Students claim the university suppresses dissent, including the retraction of an op-ed exposing Israeli-funded research. The institute's officials deny censorship, citing a commitment to free speech. CNN has settled a defamation case involving U.S. Navy veteran Zachary Young for $5 million. The case stemmed from a 2021 report accusing Young of overcharging the evacuation of people during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. A Florida appeals court upheld the jury's verdict. It ruled CNN acted with actual malice and ignored evidence showing Young did not exploit Afghans. The network was criticized for failing to verify facts and giving Young just 2 hours to respond. Young maintained he never charged Afghans. Following CNN's report, his business collapsed, leaving him with no income. While CNN defended its journalism, it agreed to settle after the ruling. Young called the case a step towards accountability. The settlement's details remain confidential. U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy proposes that alcohol is a leading cause of cancer, a risk that should be clearly labeled on drinks Americans consume. Muslim Network has a special report on why Islam prohibits alcohol and insights on cancer and health risks. Let's watch.
For many, alcohol isn't just a drink. It's glamour wrapped in a bottle. But beneath the sparkle lies a darker truth. Alcohol kills. It is the third leading preventable cause of cancer in the United States after tobacco and obesity. Every year, 20,000 Americans die from alcohol-related cancers. 20,000 lives lost to something society calls harmless fun. Globally, alcohol is linked to over 740,000 cancer cases in just 1 year. Research confirms it increases risk for 6 different types of cancer, a silent killer hiding in plain sight. The U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, has sounded the alarm. He acknowledges what some refuse to hear. Any benefit from wine is dwarfed by the harm. The science is undeniable.
Alcohol is unequivocally good for your heart. And we now know that story is actually a lot more complicated, that while there may be some benefits to some types of heart disease with moderate drinking, and that's still being investigated and adjudicated and debated, we know that there are other types of heart disease, like heart failure, for example, like atrial fibrillation, which is an abnormal heart rhythm, and even high blood pressure itself, where the risk increases with drinking. What we do know for certain, though, or at least with a high degree of confidence, is this link between alcohol and cancer.
But this truth isn't new. 14 centuries ago, Islam declared alcohol the mother of all evils, prohibiting it from the destruction it causes. A guidance the world is only now beginning to grasp. Alcohol destroys not only health, but also families and societies. Alcohol causes nearly 300,000 deaths in road accidents worldwide each year. There are more than 12 million Americans who are victims of domestic violence every year. 55% of the perpetrators were drinking alcohol prior to assault. Yet, society glamorizes it, celebrates it. Advertising budgets for alcohol eclipse public health campaigns. It's the centerpiece of parties, the hallmark of quote-unquote high society. But how often do we pause to see the wreckage it leaves in its path? Behind every glass raised is a family shattered, a life cut short, a tragedy that could have been prevented. 14 centuries ago, God warned us. Today, the science has come along. What took you so long?
That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.